When we were talking off camera casually, you mentioned different types of bullying.
Yeah.
I wonder if you can tell the viewer about different types of bullying and what to look out for.
Okay. Well, types of bullying, I could be here for an hour to get talk about that in itself. It's more, my specific thing was that I recognised the grooming, like the person being pressurised to apologise. I recognised the ways that bullies groom to find out what they're trying to test is what they can get away with whom. So they groom to do it. So the pressure to apologise is one. You can get the, I class them as overt and covert. Now, the overt ones is you can have a manager who just shouts at people. And, but while he's doing that, he'll be looking out to see if anyone's like to stand up to him. I had a manager who like shouting at, and I was in a union meeting and he was throwing his weight around. Now, I'm allergic to people who throw their weight around. Right. So my hackles were already hitting the ceiling. And I said that I wouldn't agree with him. And he said, we're supposed to be working together on this, Jane. And I said, well, I'm not raising my voice. And he shut up for the rest of the meeting. It was bliss. And some of the reps weren't happy with me because they liked him, because when he could do something, he would. But nevertheless, you shout at me and you're not going to get a good response. It was because my father was a shouter and I didn't like it. So as an adult, I won't have it. So shouting, snapping, intimidating, they're all along the same lines. You can have pressure to submit, which is pressing to apologise for something that's not your fault. So I took a note of these before I came. Teasing, how much teasing are you going to take? How they might be testing where your walls are. It's all about boundaries. If I had a child, I would be saying to them, let's talk about where your boundaries are going to be. Boundaries are incredibly important. So if you've been bullied as a child, you are more vulnerable. If you have a disability, you are more vulnerable. Or any protected characteristic makes you more vulnerable. So being more vulnerable, you need to know the ways in which they groom so that you can be ready for them. Because if you can be ready for them, for example, the shouting and me saying, I'm not raising my voice, is a way of saying, not with me, mate. So that's what it's about. It's the most important part of what I teach is to look at the grooming. Provocation, so if they know you've got a sensitive button, they'll keep pressing it to see whether you're going to react. And the most important thing about standing up to a bully is that you always keep your temper. You must pretend that you're talking to God. You must be very, very polite. Because what I've had in cases is that the member is pushed and pushed and pushed until they explode. And it's sod's law that someone witnesses that, which undermines their case. So never, ever lose your temper with the bully. You have to be incredibly polite at all times. The older I get, the more that applies generally.
Yeah.
Land grabbing is more about if you're a colleague and you've got colleagues at work, someone will pressurise you to give up the parts of your job that they'd like.
Right.
That's one to watch out with. Shock tactics. Now, shock tactics, this is to see what a person will do when they're not sure of themselves. So bullies will say something really shocking and then see, is she going to react? In sexual harassment, the one they'll do is they'll come up and they'll say something very quietly to you that no one else can hear. And it will be sexually very explicit. So it would be, I would like to rape you. That would be a classic. And they're looking to see what your response. Can I push this person around? Is this person going to do what I want? So, you have to be ready for these. So if you have a daughter, you should be saying, I'm going to whisper something in your ear and you're going to shout at me right in the face. So I know that you're ready for them when they try it on you. Gaslighting is another way. It's a way of shocking people. So you have to be very clear on knowing, I know that I'm not, I remembered that right, and this is, and the way to call a person a liar politely is to say, that is factually inaccurate. That's how